Hello! Okay. Oh. Man. Sorry that took so long. We're live. Oh. It's all, it's all been a bit hectic today. But thankfully, it's all good now, I think. I think I've done all of the little chores that come at the same time of posting stuff. And I've distributed all of the things to all of the different social media platforms. So, at last, it is done. And we can do more interesting things. If you haven't seen it, and you're watching the stream, firstly, I'm shocked. But secondly, there's a new post. A new Make a Game With Us. Number 47, if you can believe it. And, yeah, I was preparing stuff for what I was originally going to do my show on today. Because I realised we hadn't done one in a week since, like, this stream last week. And that, we probably, especially this close to release, we probably should do something. It's just it's a really bad time, okay? But here's the good news. The good news is that I did find something to do the short on, and I checked, like, I went onto, like, TikTok, I think, and it was like, hey, did you know a year ago today you made this? And I was like, what did I make? And it was the part 0 for Make a Game With Us. Part 0! We're on 47 now. And of course we started with 0 because why wouldn't we? That's why you don't let the programmers control your social media stuff. Well, there you go. So it's been a year apparently, which seems hard to believe. The original goal, of course, being 2 months, so definitely messed that up. Definitely made a mistake there. But I guess that's just kind of how it is, you know? Sometimes you say 2 months, and then you get it. Yeah, it's not 2 months. It's slightly more than 2 months. Oh, but it's okay. This was planned now. I mean, it was 2 months, and then we were like, well, this is doing better. We should probably go a little further. And then eventually we were like 12 months, I guess. Because this game's just kept being pushed back, release date. Because we initially planned to release it like at December, like before Christmas. And then we kept going because we found like ways to like justify adding more. And making it happen, and now here we are with just 2 weeks today until the game My Party Needs an Alchemist is out. 2 weeks. Oh, and if you know, that means we have 1 week to finish everything, which is stressful because stuff isn't finished yet. There's still stuff to do. We've got so many things to fix, but it's all little things, thankfully. Well, you know, that are crucial. You know, other things we could probably add as updates. Like, we've already like cut down a bit of some of the stuff that we were planning to put in the outposts. Like, there were going to be 3. We've shrunk it down to 1, and then we're going to add a few more as a later update, just because we don't have time to like quality check another 2 outposts. And some of our like secret level stuff, we still need to put that in. That's still waiting to go. And then what else? Just like little tweaks and bits and bobs. So like little like adding a sound effect here and there, kind of thing, right? But man, I'm gonna be honest. I was in Banda like 10 minutes ago, sorting this out, making all the shots work. It's kind of Lydia's kind of here. She might appear at some point. She's just kind of grayed out at the moment. So it's mainly just me. Matt is on the other side of the globe. So he's probably not going to be joining the stream. And I suspect he'll be asleep right now. Because for him it'll be like early AMs. Yeah, was it a tactical choice for us to be like so chaotically spread out across the world on the release week? Well, I guess we'll find out. It's fine. Because the one way to think about it is, like, disorganized. in the sense of like we're all spread around. The other way to think about it is the company is always awake. Well, we have a 100% development uptime. Yeah, I think that's the spin we'll go. We'll use that. I don't know if I showed this off last time, but we can kind of cut to the engine. We'll start doing some of the stuff that we're going to do today. Which is, let's have a look at, oh, an almost identical scene. We're going to go over here to our main menu. This is in the engine, of course, for our game. My party needs an alchemist. And this is actually just literally the main menu scene. And I was using this to record like a 4K clip that I could use for the video that I just made. And I was showing it, like, I put a little thing like near the end, which like showcased this tiny little thing I added, because this I don't know why. This was kind of like in between doing like important serious things. It was kind of like, what if we make it so that when you put your mouse over the head of the little chol thing, you know, this creature, this little guy, he like looks up and eats slower, and then when you move it away, he goes back to it, almost like he's nervous that you're like watching him. He's like, huh, what do you want? Hello. What? So that's a new feature. There you go. The one that nobody asked for, but maybe some people will notice and appreciate. We'll see. Because I feel like a lot of people, they like this little guy, and when you when they see them, they like want to go and like they immediately like. I saw a bunch of people playing the game, and like one of the things they do with their mouth, they always mouse over them. So I thought like I should make something happen when people naturally do that, to reward them for doing it, if that makes sense. I don't know. You can hardly see it, but we got new buttons now. I ripped out the Twitter stuff because the Twitter stuff is... I'm trying to phase it out because, I don't know, man. Twitter's not in a great state right now. But Blue Sky, pretty good. So it's now Blue Sky 1, and I gave it better outlines because before they had terrible outlines. So now it's fixed. But yeah, pretty happy with this little thing. I've been working on a few bits and pieces, and I think we can kind of get into it. Let's go murder one of my old saves. Yeah, bosh. This one is made almost certainly. So yeah, you get to see some of my lovely character names. Shall we just make a little save? So when you begin the game and you have your like stuff running with the standard setup, you get a tutorial which walks you through a few bits and pieces regarding like the game, how to set stuff up. We've made some changes to this from like the beta stuff because people asked for some alterations, but generally speaking, this tutorial is what is currently in the game and potentially what may remain if my upgrade takes too long, because again we have like a week, which is terrifying. So you kind of click and it shows you stuff, like you can kind of see like, oh, here's your recipes, here's an ingredient, this is where your ingredients go, this is the cauldron where you craft stuff, this is the kind of potions where they will be, and the chalk, and it tells you about a few bits and pieces, and then you can kind of make stuff with this. So we can go like that, and then it'll tell you that, to craft a potion you need to fill in as much of the pattern as possible. Right. So one of the things I saw in the beta people doing that was really upsetting is they would just start trying to draw the pattern. Now doesn't work. It just skips the tutorial because the tutorial is kind of like on top of everything. So, and like, don't get me wrong, I also think that that's like reasonable thing for people to do. It's just upsetting. This is like a lot of text, so people are just skipping through it, right? So I don't know. I wanted people to have more, so, you know, something nicer to go here. And I was struggling to think of a way to improve tutorials because, like, ultimately nobody really wants to be in a tutorial for long. But there's a lot of stuff that I kind of wanted to share. And then, so I thought I would start having a look at some of the things that like other games do, right? Like how's this solved? Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm on the latest version of the pipeline, you know, the game. Let me just quickly turn this off. There's new icons down here for sorting your potions on the shelf. That was a demo request. I didn't even know that was done. That's cool. We have those now. Yippee. So let's, like, I can kind of show you where I'm at. Basically, I saw that a lot of people use characters or, like, you know, try and like tie in tutorials to the game world or whatever to make it feel like it's less jarring when the tutorial occurs. And I think that's probably a good idea. And so I was trying to think of like a way to do that, because there's like, before you begin at this point in the game, there's only really one character that's mentioned, and that is the character that is mentioned, your cousin, who, spoilers, you do get to meet later on in the game. And I thought it'd be cool if your cousin gave you information for your, you know, to your characters, like tutorial wise. But obviously they aren't going to be there with you. So instead, I decided to go for basically having some kind of like setup with letters. So I made this mail service handler, and right now when I press play in this scene, the mail service handler is going to deliver us a letter. And this is extremely whip, by the way. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done here. I just thought I'd show roughly where we're at. So the new outpost scene is still underway as well. But you kind of get this polka dot thing. There's a letter. It opens the letter, and you get some cards out of it. Like the timing and speed and stuff probably needs some improvement. But you have these cards, and this is just like some random text. It probably won't remain like this. But you can kind of like flip through your cards, and it, you know, has stuff on it, right? And this is like made like in quite a convenient way, I think, so that you could like quickly set up more of these. Now, while I think it's really cool, like in the sense of like with text having like a letter thing like this, I think feels a little better. I also think there are probably going to be some issues with this particular setup, mainly because I think that the letters are going to, like, one of the things that letters don't do is they don't like give you the ability to highlight stuff, which either means, one, we need to make some like little images to go on letters sometimes, and if it does that, then we need to, one, set that up like program wise, but two, actually make more art assets. And right now Lydia's got a ton of stuff that she needs to finish that's more critical, right? Not that much left, but still stuff that needs to be done. And then finally, like I don't know, it just seems like it's going to be hard to highlight stuff. Like the nice thing about just having some text and everything be grey is that you can just remove bits of the grey things, whereas with the letters you'd have to have like images, and people might not understand how those correlate to the actual things. So I could have it to the letters like move around and like arrows point to stuff, but that requires then designing a system which lets you effectively set up like dynamic cutscenes for your tutorials, And like right now we have something that's like not too far away. So the way that the letters work is that we have this letter database, and you end up with like this. Let's see if we can kind of move this up. You can kind of you make a letter, you define like the name of the letter, who's sending it, where they're sending it from, a greeting and a sign off, and then @p is just replaced with the player name. And then in the actual cards themselves, you define like the color of the text, the image sprite. So if you wanted different characters to have different like effectively cards, that you could do that. And then just the text they say, right? And then it'll just like queue these up as cards within the letter when you open them, which is pretty simple. But as you can see, it's not exactly like a sequence. And you'd need some kind of like animation sequence for that to work. Now, of course, like there are like I could make like a node graph system for this, which would be which would let you have more control. But the issue though is that it's like a matter of time left. Trying to finish off that system within the week, and also I have to make the release trailer still. Oof, it's gonna be tough. Normally, like, it takes me a week to make those trailers, and while it won't take me that long this time round, I'm still very worried about how much time I actually have left to finish this. And then I still have to like write all of the letter content, which won't take long, but it's still another thing to do. So the question is, like, do people like the letters that have been shown so far? Like, or should I just like scrap this line of thought? Because like, we could change this retroactively in like an update later on, maybe. Because I do think the cards are a good idea. I don't know. I'm not sure. If anyone in chat has any opinions, I would definitely like to know them. But that is currently where I am with the tutorial stuff. Finish the game first. Well, the game is finished. That's the thing. The game is done. The letters are cute. I'm glad you like them. It's just so... I think the letters are cute, but I do get that there are more important things to focus on. Yeah. Okay. Because if I don't work on these letters, I'll just be making the trailer, so I'm not working on the game either way. I think, relatively speaking, it's all pretty much done. Let me go check the Trello. We have like a Trello thing for organizing stuff, and I think most of the stuff is done. Oh, there's so many things on here. Implement the outpost stories. That's done. That's done. Make birds real. I did that. That's finished. Yeah, I added birds to the game. They're quite cool, actually. Would you like to see them? I'm not sure if I showed them off. What else needs doing? The storage stuff I think is mostly done. The potions I think are mostly done. Okay. Right, map descriptions. That has been completed as well. Create the new trailer. That's one of the big things that hasn't been done. Art for the OST, but that's again not really game related. Secret missions, that is still needed to be done. Most of this is, I think, finished, which is really weird, but also good because it definitely should be finished by now. Are any of the birds toucans? Ooh, you know, You'd have to ask Lydia really nice to make some toucans for you. I don't think there are any right now. They're kind of like... let me... that's not the right place. Let's go to the map scene. I'll show you what their birds are like. Well, when it decides. Oh, there we go. Good, good. We're in the capital. So if we just kind of move around here long enough, I'm sure we'll evoke some birds to come and attack us. Birds? Maybe birds? Oh yeah, those rocks. There are some rocks over in that corner that I thought... I didn't realise they're actually, like, there's like a little shortcut around there. I don't see the birds. Maybe we'll get some birds up here. They have a chance on whether or not they decide to show themselves. No birds. Let me just quickly check that the birds haven't somehow been merged out of existence. No, the birds are still here. Okay. You can see the like blue lines, the bird lines on that screen. So they're just like a little tool we can use to define paths. So I think they have a 20% chance not to like trigger. Ah, here we go. Here's some birds. Yay! There's some guys. I noticed the birds fly over these buttons. So that's another thing to do on the Trello board. That's good. But you know that was that was my fault. Let's see if we get some birds this way this time. Yeah, another swarm. They have different patterns, and they go to different places and have different formations, and yeah, birds. They exist now. Just another thing to make the map scene slightly more interesting. Yeah, you can claim... I mean, they probably are, you know, if you zoom in. So you can see these lines, these blue lines, are like the flight paths of birds. And the reason they have this circle at one end is because that they can, like, the center of the swarm can appear anywhere within these circles, so that they aren't always the same line every time, and they'll pick an end point within the circle as well. So like you could have one up here that's trying to go to here, or here, sorry, you know, like go from like here and try and go to here, you know. Like not massively different, but like a little bit of variancy. And then there are different weights on the birds as to what formation they take. So yeah, those are birds and things. Oh, it's all kind of set up and ready to go now. It's so strange. Oh man, I really look forward to seeing people play the final levels. I know I say it like every stream, but there's some really cool stuff over there that I really can't wait to show. And there's only 2 weeks, then you can play it. And you can tell me that my story's good or bad. Oh, yeah, so that's the demo stuff. Well, you know the demo, the game things for the tutorial. So maybe we can make some improvements to the tutorial. Or maybe we just kind of leave that. I guess you'll find out in 2 weeks whether or not that gets finished. But at the very least, I've improved it and like, you know, changed it from what was in the beta. So it should hopefully be okay. What else did I say I was gonna do? Man, the stream stuff, it's all been... This week's been hectic. I'm like so frazzled right now. Yeah. Okay. Let's get my bearings. Right. So replacing the tutorials. Do people want to see how I make the shorts? It's kind of a bit weird. I think we have showed it a little bit on stream before once, a long time ago. But we use Blender. So I can jump into our latest short. It looks kind of like this. And you can see that like this up here is our like preview. We make it for vertical because that hits the most platforms. So we just flip instead of 920 by 1080, which is like your standard thing, we flip it around so it's 1080 by 1920, which is kind of sacrilegious, but that's how it is. And then yeah, I mean it's just mainly just like standard animation stuff from here, right? Where we have like the sound. Like this is the first thing that I make, which is I have a little script. You can see this time round it started with this, and then I refined it down to be just this. And then I record myself like 10 times, and then I take that out and I clip out me going like or just like breathing, and then you get this. Then I have like up here I've kind of like over the course of the year put together like all of this stuff. So these are like assets that are like useful like almost always or in multiple places. So our main theme, for example, we used to use hang on, let me turn off the music and I'll show you what we used to have, because back before we made music for the game, we basically went and we ripped a Kirby music, I think. Writing this script in Notepad++ is such programmer behavior. Okay. I mean, like, what do you want me to use? Notepad? No. That's... So the original music was it's in here. I think it was this. Oh man, it's going to be problematic. Let me disconnect these strips and move this over here. So it was it was this. This was our original short music. If you go back, you'll find it was this. And then we were like, we don't really want to use other people's music because obviously that's not great. So when Matt composed the music for the game, we immediately swapped it out. So then it became this, and it's like really loud by default on here. So this music, which has like, my only complaint about this is like it's really nice to have in the short, but it's so like it's less energy, and I really liked the initial energy. That party popper noise. Because I just thought it was real. I don't know. I like the high energiness of the shorts because like you want to hold people's attention, and there's like a bunch of things you want to consider when making shorts. Because you're like the consumers are effectively gonna have they can just swipe and immediately go somewhere else. So there's no reason for them to hang around. So you have to immediately like grab their shoulders and be like, "Stay, please. Watch our video, please." Here's some immediate like stimulation so that you continue to watch us. Thank you. And it's hard to do. And so many of them, like, we've just kind of like refined down what kind of works for us. And even then, we're not like massive. Add subway surface to the bottom. Problem solved. Do you know what? You joke. I genuinely was considering putting some like Minecraft parkour like clip thing on this video somewhere at like the top half of it, but I don't know if that's like too great. I swear, like somewhere in one of these folders, I went and I like put on some shaders and I recorded like an hour of Minecraft parkour so that we could use them in these shorts. I don't think we ever used it, but it's here. You know, we have the Minecraft parkour stim if needed. But I think, yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of like if you have to put the Minecraft stim on your short, it's like, is your content? Does that mean that your content isn't good enough? Like, surely your content should be good enough to get the same effect, right? That's the goal. But you know, you can't beat the Subway Surfer top half, bottom half Minecraft parkour. Middle is like a super compressed, shrunk, the actual clip that you want to play. And then you take your voice, you put it through the AI filter because people are more familiar with it. So and then that's how you make like the most grimy short possible. But it would probably do well. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But I feel like, you know, from a reputation standpoint, I don't know if that's even a good excuse though. But like, I feel like my soul would be broken a little bit if I created that and like relied on it. But who knows? There's 2 weeks to go. Maybe for the release we make the like Super Subway Surfer Minecraft parkour mess. And like, yeah, I don't know. But as long as the information gets across right, I don't know. But these, like, there are some actually cool things that we do beyond just like standard like, you know, clips and bits and bobs. Like other than just like keyframe animations. Like the confetti stuff, I mean, that's kind of a cheat. That was literally, I YouTubed a video of confetti and it had a black background. And so I recorded that, like I just recorded the YouTube video and then I used that. And you're thinking like, okay, so you put like a black thing in here to justify that. No, because this clip is actually just me playing, and then when you go from the map scene to the cauldron, there's like a loading screen for like a second, and that black is actually the loading screen. And I just remembered, I was like, how do I make this black bit more interesting? Oh yeah, I have the black confetti, I can just fade that in. And so yeah, that's there. And then like this little guy who pops up for a second, this is just like the Valentine's short guy who I just like put here because I could and I thought it would be fun to like break this up a little bit. This half is like, we have this mask on top, which is like fading in an identical version of the same clip, but with a gation bleu, so that you get this effect where like half of it is fine, and then the bottom half gets like this gradual blur until it's, you know, so it's just like clear that like you should contact us here, right? That's a thing. But by far the most interesting thing that we do is generating the little guys. The little guy generation is a huge time saver. I think stylistically has made us stand out in this format. And the reason why is, I don't know, it's like a little weird guy, and it's something you can identify with and not just a voice talking to you that you don't know. Like people look at this and they're like, oh, a thing, I can look at that. It's like the same reason why, I mean, this is the reason why I have one on the stream right now. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. It feels different when there's a thing you can attribute a voice to. And to make this, we like in my like panic folder over here, I have this random Unity project I whipped up in like a random day for making this, which is you have the little guy. And this is a little application that I have a special OBS capture for, which cuts out the black. So it records this, and it records a like transparency, which is, it is possible, by the way. A lot of people will say you cannot record transparency. You can. It's just weird, and the files are massive. So yeah, we use OBS to record this image, and the black you can consider as transparent. And then that means that once we animate and stuff using this, you can kind of get that like hand movement look, because it literally is like me recording myself moving stuff around. And then you can just slap that over the top of what you're doing, and you've got a little guy overlaid on stuff. The way it works is quite simple. The base of it is centered on the mouse, which I can hide. Then I can use the num keys to change poses. So you've probably seen most of these. This is like a pointing thing, but after the whole Elon Musk thing, I've stopped using that pose for now. Maybe we get Lydia to redraw it so it's more clear, because yikes, you know what I mean? Yikes. And then you can hold shift. You can hold shift and you get variation. So this is normal one, that's a variation, that's a variation. You know, we have you know, I've never used this one. I hope I don't have to. I mean, I don't want to be angry. The crying one, though, we have used that. We've used all of these, I'm sure. So you can kind of see the various different poses. And Lydia made one for everyone. It's not just me. We all have one. So in the thing, like, if you're probably wondering, how do you manage multiple characters in a scene? Because we used to do shorts where we did it more. There was, like, more of us in one thing at a time. But generally now, like, towards the end, where we have more stuff to do, it became like, oh, who's doing it today? You're doing it. Okay, go make a script, record yourself, and then, like, someone will edit it, right? And very rarely do we, like, allocate two people to, like, split it up. But occasionally we do. Like, for example, when we did the race with Matt, you know, like, we were both in that short. And so to handle that, if you press the numpad plus, you swap who you control. So we can go and, like, grab all three. Oh, that's not Matt. That's, yeah. Imagine this is Matt's sprite. Hang on, there you go. It's Matt. So you can kind of control all the little guys this way. And then the way it works is that you can control who you are, and then we can start doing a little keyframe animation, and, you know, like, start flipping and doing all of that stuff. And then when we press enter, we can kind of replay the keyframe animation, like, so that, you know, we can do a little thing, like, sync it up. Like, I'll have this, like, set to only play a certain section and have it looping, and then I'll, like, do it here, like, record it, and then when I finish, I'll just, like, play this back, and the playback as well I'll actually record. It's easier that way. And the recording for transparency is actually quite intensive. But if we talk to another character and start recording without clearing anything, then we can play. Actually, wait, no. Hold on, I pressed the wrong button. No. Okay. So we should be able to, there you go, do that. And now, when we press play, we get both of them using the same timeline, but they'll do, you know, different bits, if that makes sense. So that's how we animate multiple characters at the same time, by basically treating them as having two different timelines, but then when you press play, it plays all of them at the same time. So we can get cool animations. That is neat, and that is how we make the little guys. You can technically rotate them as well, and then press F to snap them back. But we hardly ever use this feature, and G flips them. And yeah, you just stick a bunch of PNGs in a folder, and that's how you control which this works for. I designed it so that, like, other people could, in theory, use this tool to make their own little guys. So let me know if you want to try that at some point. But that's how these are made. Then, yeah. Let's have a look, I guess, at some other stuff, because that's everything here. So the other thing that's kind of like fun news is I've continued working on the pixel test. So we can, once that loads, we'll jump over there and we'll check that out. The designs are so cute. It must have taken a long time to make all the variations. You know, that's the crazy thing. Lydia I think she literally pumped them out in like an evening. She's really, really good. honestly, she carries the art stuff so hard. Yeah, I think I was like, I need some variations, and she was like, yeah, boom, here you go. So yeah, that was super neat. But that was like a thing I made like on a random evening, and then we used that to like improve it because hand animate. Because one of the big things is that we knew we needed to make shorts, and we knew we wanted to make a lot of shorts, but hand animating and like hand moving and like keyframing everything took so long that it would eat entire days, right, to just like make stuff. And when you only have a team of 3 people, you can't lose that time to go towards development. So so instead we basically ended up using this method to massively like basically cheat and speed up. So exciting things with the pixel shader. We're back and following some advice from the person who made the pixelization bit. I have fixed some issues with stuff. I also slowed down the grass. I made things slightly more accurate. This water is almost right in terms of, this is like the reflection test. And this is like the last thing I need to fix before the water is truly good. There's a wobble to it, but that's actually, I know why that's happening. That's fixable. The annoying thing is to do with this concept of oblique matrices. So when you have a camera, right? So imagine you have like a camera like this, where you have, what's the easiest way to show a camera? I guess like this. Let's jump into perspective a second. So when you have a camera, you have a few like frostrums. So you can see this is one like part, and then there's another one really far away over there. I could probably bring it in much closer, but that's the kind of idea. You have like 2 planes, and then you're rendering stuff in between this. When you have a perspective camera, it looks very different because it'll kind of shrink up into a point as opposed to like continue without shrinking, and that's, you know, an orthographic versus perspective camera. We need orthographic for our, you know, for a lot of our stuff to work. So, you know, this is the difference, by the way, between, you know, perspective versus orthographic. It's like a quick showcase. And technically, it's different again, because isometric and orthographic, two very slightly different things, but it's basically the same. But the big issue is like with the reflections. Ooh, that was not happy there. Let's close you for now. Okay, so the big issue that we're having is that if you imagine that we want to do a reflection, when we do the reflections, we want to have like a camera that is basically mirroring our position but flipped upside down, kind of like how light bounces off mirrors to get reflections, right? So this is a particular kind of way to do reflections. It's called planar reflections, and you can like, I can show you like the exact like how that camera would work, but you can see it's almost working here, right? So like we're looking at this tree, and then the camera is looking upwards and giving this back to us. But, and this is where the problem comes, you can see that this this part here doesn't look right. That's clearly not a reflection in the water, because like the camera that's flipped upside down is showing us something that's closer to it, because you have to keep in mind it's flipped and upside down, right? Like flipped and mirrored. And so ideally what you'd do is you'd move that like this far clip plane. You'd move the clip plane forwards to cut off where the camera renders, so that we only render stuff that is, you know, above the water, and we don't give reflections for stuff that's beneath the water, right? The issue, of course, is that because we're watching at an angle, just moving the far clip plane towards us isn't going to work, because the plane is, you know, it's like, its forward normal is like this, and you know, like if you imagine the green vector there, like the up vector is like if you imagine that is like the where, like along that face, like perpendicular to it, is where we want our clip plane to be. But because it's at a 45-degree angle, it's going to like shear diagonally through that. And that's no good, because that means that we're going to get only some parts of the reflection being accurate. So in order to fix that problem, what you can do is use an oblique matrix. And what that does is it says that instead of having your far clip plane be, you know, aligned with the view of the camera, you can actually rotate it at an angle. And this is okay. There's a bunch of articles on this, and that's a character sheet for something else. Give me a moment. We can look at that later if you guys like D&D things. But for now, let's move over here. So the in here somewhere, yeah, here you go. Oblique near clipping plane stuff. There's this guy, and they made an article, and they gave some pseudocode on about how to calculate oblique near clipping plane with an orthographic camera. Because the other thing is that a lot of people tell you how to do this, like how to calculate the oblique near plane for perspective cameras, but because we use orthographic, it's a bit annoying. But anyway, this guy does it, and they give us the code we need, in theory, right? So that is fine. But clearly I haven't got it working. So what's the deal? Well, it's weird. So I've modified like a tutorial for the planar reflection probe even from like this other guy, right? And if you can see this little camera at the bottom, this is right now the inverse camera. It is showing us like the reflection, and you can see that a lot of stuff is being cut off. And if we jump into the game, and we will put this to the side, and we will lock this camera, and we will also make it so that the probe does not render in editor. So that'll make this go grey. Then we can kind of look at the big issue that I'm currently having, right? So this is a camera. How did I actually get this to work now I think about it?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Lydia. We're looking at reflections again.
Ah, wonderful.
Yeah. So, ooh, okay. If I render this in, so hang on, let's keep this here for now. So you know this is broken on our end, because if we, like right now, this is about right, but that's because the capsule is kind of hidden, like, you know, halfway inside of us. If we go deep enough, you can see the bottom half of the capsule that should be occluded away is still above and like visible. But notably, if we like basically make it so that it does actually render in the editor, and we go look at the camera and pause this a second and make this real big, then we're gonna get a surprise. Oh man, I hope this is working on your stream, because this is upset to say the least. It's almost like you're not meant to do this with fake cameras. Look, the guy is clearly cut. He's cut in half here, right? And if we unpause things And it's very laggy right now because we're doing things real weird. But if we unpause things and start to move out of the water, then you'll see that like it is actually cutting stuff off at the right level. So what does this mean? What does this mean? What's actually happening? Well, it means that the calculations that we're using to get the orthographic oblique like matrix stuff to work is working. So thank you, random internet person, for giving me this. However, it also means that somewhere along the way, either the reflection shader is broken, or I don't know, something from my render pipeline is causing issues. The only real way to check that is to make another project and like test stuff out elsewhere. And maybe that would work. Oh wait, okay, so I vaguely remember doing something like this for a graphics course. I think we used the stencil buffer to avoid that stuff. Yeah, stencil buffer sounds like it would be a good idea. The problem with the stencil buffer though is that and again, I'm not like great at graphics, so I might be completely wrong here, but to my understanding, the reason why we can't just use the stencil buffer is because with the stencil buffer we have to already like basically attribute what should and should not be cut out, and we cannot dynamically do that nicely. So this kind of should be the easy option, but it's something somewhere is messing up, and I'm not entirely sure why. Like we could, one thing we could do now, now we're here, right? We may as well have a little play with it and see if we can get stuff to work. So this camera should not be exposed. It'll almost certainly like cause some memory leak issues if we leave it here. In fact, it's even telling us that there's memory leaks. This is us just messing around and trying to debug this because I was so confident that my matrix was wrong. And I was like, I cannot be. But then like something scarier happened in that it was actually working, and I just don't know why. I don't know why it's broken, so that's not good. But this is all the bad news. The good news is still to come, so be excited for that. So we can go stand in the water here, right? Womp. Let's get a little bit deeper so that we can ideally see our, there you go, our butt above our head. Then I think we can like go into one of these options. Analysis, frame debugger, I want to say. Enable. Yes. Okay, big. This is the entire walkthrough of the render pipeline on this particular frame. So we can kind of like step through all of the various textures and stuff that is going on here to figure out why things are broken. And yeah, man, you get to see all of the like little bits and pieces, and we can step through it. Now, do I understand how this works? Honestly, no. You can see like this is like before and after bloom. You can see that this is like a bunch of places, but the idea is we want to find where our camera call is happening and see if we can find anything obviously broken. So what is this? Hard to say. There's a bunch of stuff happening. There's a depth. There's a call. That's past. I think this is for. Yeah, this is for outlines. This. Oh yeah, you get to see like how all the shadow stuff is drawn. It's so kind of cool. This is like it drawing in all of the meshes and stuff. Man, I wish I knew more about this stuff. It's so cool. Like, look at that. You can kind of see all of the like a weird path. What's going on here? I don't know. Something cool. I think what we want will be around here. Because I know that, yeah. Actually, you know what's interesting? There are so many places this could go wrong. Oh, look, it's our camera. Okay, here we go. Okay. So this is our inverse upside down camera that's looking backwards at us. So it might actually just be using the wrong pipeline and having some problematic stuff going on there, maybe? I don't know. It's upside down, it gets outlines and stuff from that pass. Which is kind of cool. Draw some opaque stuff. Yeah, so we can see that it's not actually occluding anything at any point in this process, which is weird because the actual camera was. So I don't know why this is broken. Anyway, this is for when we're not live, and I'm not just kind of aimlessly trying to debug this. Let's show a different material that is much cooler. So just, you'll have to like use your imagination for a moment. But imagine this material, this reflection, it works perfectly. Wow. And then we take this and we put it on top of our like stylized water, which when rendered and in a not bad way looks like kind of like this. So we get our nice foam and we get our like depth coloring, and you can see there's like a little bit of like outline color around where the thing is hit. I don't know, I think this is quite nice, and with the reflection on top it'll look really good. I hope. Fingers crossed. I'll tweak it a little bit, but we're getting close to water just being done. And this was real easy to set up. This is just like the shader I was trying to make for ages with but like we fixed there was an issue with the depth texture basically getting cleared out by something else in the render pipeline. So now I'm just hoping that like whatever is going on with the like changing the clipping planes isn't gonna mess stuff up also because of the render pipeline things. I'll contact people and try and get something solved. If not, maybe they can someone can tell me how this works. I feel so lost sometimes when trying to do graphical programming, because it's like you do a bunch of stuff that's relatively template, and then you try and move a little bit away from it, and suddenly you're the first person to like ever try and do this in this particular way, and there's no like it's so, I find graphics so much harder to know what to search for, whereas programming, it's like kind of easy to find what I need because I'm just like I've been doing it for years. But with graphics, it's like some of the terminology and stuff I just don't know it. It's the thing. I'm not like classically trained to know it, so I struggle so much. But this has been a huge learning experience, and like even if we don't have reflections and it's just this, I think this is like good enough. But reflections would be so much nicer. It is like the downside is reflections look nice, but also reflections like half the frame rate because you have to render the entire scene twice, right? So the question really comes down to like, do you want reflections, or no? Yeah, obviously, you can have a graphical setting to turn reflections on or off, but it's hard. And like sometimes I look at other reflection stuff, and there's like because there's planar reflections is one way, then there's another way which is like using light probes. I tried to figure out how light probes work, but there's like there's no simple guide that I could find anyway. So I was just like, yes, all of this stuff about light and reflections, and I'm just like trying to figure it out. I don't really get it. But I don't know. But yeah, so that's at least something. Go all the way and do ray tracing. Oh, so now... it's probably not the best idea. But who knows, maybe. No, I'm not even going to say maybe. I'm not doing ray tracing. That sounds hard. I'm not doing that. But I kind of improved the grass outline stuff a little bit so that it stops freaking out so much. This is still weird. I don't know why it goes slightly lighter when you do it at a certain angle. I had to change my camera settings to fix stuff, and it's kind of made some of the reflections a bit weird. So that's like another thing to fix, but I don't know. I think it still looks okay, and I think like when you have super stylized stuff like this, at some point there has to be some give and take, and I'm sure I'll improve it. Especially if the next project also takes a year, because then I'll have like plenty of time to fix stuff. Fingers crossed. Yes, and real time. Well, hey, you know, this is all real time so far. You know, nothing pre-baked here. We're kind of cheating so much with our lighting, so it all works. It all works. Is there anything you guys want to see with this? I don't know. Like, the water stuff is kind of working. I can show people how I made the water, like especially the water. This is all like shader graph stuff. I should ask. Like I know obviously, Mutant and Kirsten, right? You like are classically trained with this kind of thing, so you know engine. You do all of that. And actually, you said you did like computer graphics stuff somewhere a second ago. Like what are people's like levels of understanding here? How far do we want to go into this? Because well, you know it's also the stream, so we can go as crazy as you want. But I can also keep things like nice and abstract, and we don't have to worry about any of the nitty gritty stuff if we don't care for it. Because that's very understandable. And that's at least where we are. Classically trained, sort of. What you are? I mean, you're as classically trained as I am, right? Right? Surely. We were on the same uni course, for context. So you know, in theory, we should have the same like foundation. I think I need to dig through code to understand it properly. Ah, well, that's fair. That's very fair. Unfortunately, though, there is no code for this because I made it in shader graph, so we don't have to worry too much about actual code. We look at the pretty shaders going brr, and honestly, I feel like code is sometimes easier to understand than this, but sometimes it's nice to have visuals as well. So I guess it depends on how you look at it. You're better at the coding parts than me, though. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. You have to have some, you know, more confidence, I believe. Let's see when you make stuff. Sometimes my coding works. Sometimes. I always forget that Unity has this. Yeah, I don't even... it does at a certain point. Like, there's... I think after Unity 2021, the shader graph exists. You can kind of make this. Like, there's like a plugin that you can install. It's like one of the base Unity ones. It's pretty easy to access. And this is almost, like, completely ripped from a tutorial. So it's, like, nothing unique here, really. I mean, I have, like, these... this is probably annoying for people who are, like, trying to copy this directly. Because... this is like a little... I've like tried to make what's it called? Little nodes, little shrunk nodes, like this. This is like a little texture thing. What are they called? I think it's called a subgraph. Yeah, shader subgraphs. I have little shader subgraphs that resolve some of my stuff. I like making a billboard sprite. No need to do that like 10 times. Just do it once, and then you can import it to other shaders. I quite like these. I think they're pretty cool. The shader graph's nice. The issue, of course, though, is that like a lot of the more like technical stuff that like I try and go for isn't done in shader graph because like the examples aren't, so I have to like reverse engineer it or you know, there's it all just gets a bit weird. And then like people like for the most optimized form, obviously you'd want to make this into a shader, but I just like I've never been like great at shaders. It's something I definitely need to work on, but I'm certainly getting better, I think. So we have this, and it works for now. But yeah, so that's kind of where this is at project wise. Nothing huge from last time, but water is at least a little bit better. Real confused about why the reflections aren't playing nice, but I think it could be an issue with this. I mean, we could go and test it, I suppose. Make a new Unity project and go and put that together and like hard prove that it's either like hard prove what the issue is. Because there's a few places it could be. It could be that I'm using Cinemachine cameras. It could be that it's because I'm using like the like render pipeline features from this like pixelization stuff. So yeah, where that problem lies, I'm not sure. But that's that. That's where we are. So yeah, I guess to summarize, game, my party needs an alchemist. Current thing we're working on, 2 weeks till release. Massive hype. We got that's almost done. Game is finished pretty much. We've got this project coming along quite well. Most of the like little test for this is coming along quite nicely, and we'll soon make a new prototype that's improved and will probably evolve into the actual project for next game, assuming we use this. Only thing is this reflection thing that's annoying me. Everything else seems okay. I want to start like thinking about like character rigging as well though, because that is also hard, and I haven't really done much of that. Then outside of that, yeah, that's it really. That's kind of where we are. Is there anything you want to add, Lydia? Because you are here now. Hello.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I don't think anything too much. Oh man, I'm excited and nervous. If we do go for this kind of style for the 4th game, it's gonna be a very interesting learning experience because I'm not experienced in a 3D pipeline at all, but it's also it's very refreshing. I liked making my cow, and the building was cute, and especially if we go for the whole like cottagey, witchy vibe, could be very fun. Could be very fun.
I mean, I'm excited to try it.
Hell yeah! I'd love to be paid to make cute cottages. That would be great.
So we can always try it. I mean, like the thing is that like just like with the make a game with us, the first time we ran it, we started with one game, and then we pivoted out of it completely into another game. So we can always start with the 3D stuff, and if it goes terribly, we can just do something else. You know, we can go back to our original concept for the next game, Game 5. So that's that. But it would be a real shame to lose this because I think it's really cool.
Oh. What are you gonna give a go at rigging? Are you gonna give the little Among Us character a walking animation? Are you gonna take a crack at the chicken maybe?
Oh, I'm not gonna do the rigging now because that sounds really hard.
No, not right now, but in the future.
I want to make a little.
Who's your test dummy?
Make a little witch with a little hat. And I'm
you're gonna make a little guy.
Little guy.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna move up because I think that's probably gonna be the big spooky thing. Doing animation and all that kind of stuff is hard.
You gotta do big drapey sleeves.
He have no legs. Yeah, well, we're gonna have to make a 3D model that isn't the Among Us capsule, because you are indeed correct. They have no legs. Although I'm sure we could rig it, or like skin the mesh in such a horrible way that it kind of has legs. Though that would be an abomination.
I'm confident that on the animation front between the two of us, if we do go 3D, we can probably vibe it out. We can probably get something that looks semi-decent. I don't want to touch rigging with a 10-foot pole. I have horror stories of rigging from uni.
Yeah, but like, is it that bad? Surely
I don't,
not.
I don't know if we just had a poor lecturer, but oh my gosh. I think rigging was the hardest thing. My brain, I just could not wrap my head around it.
You think, like, technology has come along since your college days. We have the technology now. There's better, like, like UV mapping and all of that stuff. It's gone so much easier.
Yeah, you can auto rig.
You can, you
Press the
can,
auto rig button.
you can. There's like Maximo exists. That's basically auto rigging.
Hell
You
yeah.
give it a skeleton and it goes, yeah, now it can Fortnite dance, and which is just horrifying. But I guess it's just like conceptually understanding the like how to make some of the stuff work. I'll be poking your brains if you get 3D animation rigging going. That's the scariest part for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. I mean, we'll get there. I've
You get to
experimented
the
a little bit.
bones. You make the bones of a model,
Make the
and
bones.
that all connects up. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it connects to bones that you didn't want it to connect to. Although I think the worst part is skinning. It's like weighting the model where you have to draw on all of
Well,
the
that's the
little
thing,
like
right?
heat map of what connects to what. Oh,
The
it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening.
the trick for us will be making really simple geometry for our
Yes.
characters. Because if we have like very low poly count stuff and it gets pixelated to be more nice, we can make our animation and rigging stuff
We can cheat a little.
real simple, and hopefully the simplicity will make it nice. And then we can build on that with extra layers to further nicify it. But yeah, that's kind of it really. That's our plans. Yeah, we just hope it all works. So yeah, that's that. We have a few like backup game ideas though. I might should I bring out any of the game concepts? I don't know. Should I dock some of the stuff?
Not
that
yet,
we
not yet.
worked
Save
on?
that for post relief.
Well,
post
like
release.
the thing is that like there's always a chance that we go and like do that in another time, you know. Ooh. But just know that if things go south, like we have backups, we have backup game ideas. The thing is that like, game ideas are like pretty easy to come by. It's just making a game that like executing the making a game part that's kind of hard. Yeah, and it is pretty tough. One of the big things that I've been trying to like do this time round is, and like why I'm kind of scared to go into something that is similar to things like Stardew and things like that, is that I really feel like in order to make a game successful, you have to like find games that are in the same category as the game that you're making, that are like successful, have made the amount of money to viably like keep the company going, and to like grow the company, like you. And then you have to make sure that you are at least on par with all of those games, which is easy to do. Like I think that's true for My Party Needs an Alchemist. I think it's pretty competitive. I want to say I believe in the project, in the game, But like if we were to make something like this, we'd effectively be like competing with Stardew, and you're like, Stardew is like 10 years old now or something, 12 years old.
And still
But
actually being updated.
it's still in the global top seller list though. It's like
fucking
in the
great.
top 100. It's really good. I mean,
Love
I played it.
It's wonderful.
It's a good game. I like it.
Hell yeah.
But the problem, so the problem then becomes like, now you have to compete with that. Oh, that's hard. That's scary. There's so much stuff there, and they have the advantage of time as well, because like ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like your customers, like the people who are playing your game, they have a choice to like play your game, or to go play any other game, and you have to make it so that your game is the game they want to play, and that's really really hard. So yeah, figuring that out, I don't know. That's going to be tricky.
I do quite like that our backup plan is a huge vibe shift, though.
There's a massive vibe shift.
We go from like cozy maybe farming. I'm not sure that we've super decided what it's going to be yet.
Yeah.
But a very like Stardew-esque game to just like big goblin energy,
Yeah.
maximize chaos.
That is true.
I'm excited for it either way.
Because like one of the things I've seen people doing is like not a bad way to like start off is like take a game that already exists and is successful and then try and make something similar to it but completely rework like either the viewpoint, so like instead of like if it's like a 2D side scroller, make it like a 3D orthographic, or and like that kind of thing. So we're kind of doing that for like Stardew style stuff, because obviously it's not actually 3D, it's just like 2D with the same viewpoint. So we're kind of making something that's similar but has like an extra gimmick, like an extra layer of gimmick to it. I think should hopefully look nice and play well. I don't think I've seen a Stardew clone or like something that's like inspired by it have this kind of looks. And I feel like we could make it our own. You just need to have something that like is visually appealing, that competes well with its competitors, and like like. So it means we'd have to have story. We'd have to have like some similar bits to like make the audience who like that also view it as good enough. But I think it's doable. It's just gonna be tough. Hang on, let's see. If it's in my favorite genre, I will absolutely be that oh nice 2 cakes guy. Oh man, I hope that's the case. What would you say your favorite genre is? What is your like go-to game? Like, I like that there are Stardew clones, and Stardew is in itself a Harvest Moon clone. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it doesn't really matter. Like the clone is just like that's just like a snapshot of like mechanics, a genre, and promises of like the style and like what you're gonna get. Because like people call stuff clones of other things, and it's just because they're like similar in concept. But I think you can make any game unique and fun, even if it's similar in certain regards. Like, I don't think anybody's arguing that like, because people call like people used to call like Terraria like a Minecraft clone and all of that stuff, or it was the other way around, I can't remember. It was like 2D Minecraft, but obviously they're completely different. It's just they both have voxels, or like like they have like the blocks on a grid setup, but nobody's saying they're like the same game. And like they're both very fun in their own rights. Mine is immersive sims like Thief / Deus Ex / Dishonored. Man, that would be fun to make. Let me get something. I mean, you've seen this, I think, already, but other people probably haven't. Let's go to my graveyard of code. To engine. Where is this? Here.
Crazy idea for how far we can put. Are owl bears copyrighted?
Almost
Do
certainly.
Wizards of the Coast own owl bears?
I would suspect so. Oh, actually no, because they're in like. I feel.
You can't really mash an owl and a bear together and say that's mine.
I don't know. I feel like you can. You can't copyright a process. But like IP, I don't know.
Because
Doesn't Monster Hunter have like an owl bear as well?
I don't know.
Or is it like an owl lion or something?
My thought was, what if instead of having chickens we had owl bears? That would be really cute.
Maybe we can have both. It doesn't have to be one or the
like
other.
a humongous coop. There's just a big old bear inside. It's just a big fella.
Why limit yourself? Okay. Alright. Gamers. Let me show you an old thing. This is a random private project. Like a random like...
Oh, hell yeah!
Thing. This, by the way, is genuinely super cool. And I have no justification as to why I stopped working on it. I probably should go back to it. But this is the thing. I make prototypes. And then... I don't abandon them, but we come back to them.
Put them on permanent leave.
Well, like I'll come back to it at some point. Oh, this is old. Hold on. There's a newer version of this. Could it be potentially build 0, or is this really? Oh, that's really, really old. Okay, hold on. Give us a moment.
No, that was the newest version. What you were showing.
No.
Is it something got the updated feet? And you can no longer get trapped by the rabbit.
Let's go grab it. Is it? Are these Lantern Light prototype? Or no? I can't remember. Either way, none of these have lanterns in them, so they shouldn't be called Lantern Light prototype. One way or the other. Must be you, right? Let's go have a look at the art. We can't see it here. Excellent. Let's just take a gamble and say it's this project. Wait, I can see that the other Lantern Light prototype is already here. Okay, let's open this quick. We'll see if it's that one. Okay, so what is this? What am I showing you? This is kind of like my attempt at making an immersive sim a long time ago. And by that I mean like 3 months plus. And it was like, if you've ever played a game like Caves of Quad or you know, Dwarf Fortress or something along those lines, I really like games. I find very like I like games that kind of like have like lots of little systems that work together, and through like very simple things you get this huge complexity. Like stuff just happens because it all works together, and like different systems like mesh in like fun and interesting ways. And you get a bunch of organic story and stuff from these games. My big issue though with them is that because they're so complex, they are often displayed. Oh wait, no, that was my initial attempt. This is where we used to be. That's not the right one at all. Let's try this one. I keep calling these things Lantern Light. No, they never are. Not yet, anyway. For those wondering, Lantern Light is a setting that we made for a D&D thing, and you need lanterns because there's no sun. But don't worry about that, because I don't think any of these places got to the point where we considered doing the lighting required for the lanterns. They are very complicated to make these kind of immersive sim stuff. But I wanted to make one, and I came up with something really cool. I had managed to like keep it completely pure from the C# side, and then make this like interface for Unity to like render the data. And because like that was the big thing, right? I wanted to make a system that we could like had the complexity but also like felt nice. And I think that like Baldur's Gate 3 does like kind of had a really neat solution in that they have a like having a 5e style game where you can like interact and do stuff is really cool, and it's hard to make it user friendly like interface wise. So a lot of games like Caves of Quad and all of this stuff end up having really complicated, like over the complicated UI and stuff. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is the up-to-date version. So I wanted to just make something that didn't have that issue, and this is my like example. So you have like a fun visual front end, but you still get all of the juicy data side, and you have these are just like I had like inventory things. This isn't done, and like a little skill tree thing, settings thing, world thing, and then down here we're going to be like your actions, kind of like in Baldur's Gate, where you get context options that you can click to do stuff, and that way it's not like console commandy or like to ASCII to scare away people. I wanted to keep something nice, and the concept is that the world moves with you, right? So the world moves in effectively steps, and as you move around, the world moves as you do. All of the entities and things inside the world will do stuff. And there's a bunch of really cool like stuff going on tech-wise here. Like for example, like the dirt is considered like faster to move on. So like if you move, things will move, faster on dirt if they're trying to get to you. Like all of these like entities and stuff, it's all like component driven. So like I can like press a button effectively and make it so that the trees are like able to like follow me. The rabbit is given like right now has got a behavior in its brain that makes it so that it follows the player and it will try and get as close to the player as it can. These people, I can't remember what we called them, but they were called like Wendy or something. The Wendy's, they move. They're just like moving in a random direction, and when you shake, that's them moving, trying to move to a place that's invalid. So like if we wait, the rabbit will just start trying to move onto us, and you can't swap with the player because that would be really annoying. But we can swap with it, so you can see we can kind of do that. And when the Wendy tries to move into the wall, they'll vibrate because obviously they can't move into walls. So these things have collision, and like we have the Z layering and stuff nice and working so that things can be bigger than a tile, and it all just looks nice and is cool. But the real cool thing about this demo, I really want to stress is awesome, is that this is one level. We're actually simulating the entire world at the same time. So unbeknownst to you guys, unless you've seen this demo, through this portal, which is what this is, there's another world, and it's being simulated at the same time. So this is all happening and going on over here. Isn't this cool? Like, I put effort into this demo. I just stopped working on it because I'm insane. But yeah, you can have like cool little villages and stuff, and you can like go behind things, and this is all being simulated, and you should be able to go into this house, but I couldn't be bothered to set that up. I really should though. I should make a little side level. But this one is cool because like the camera follows you, so like you can have like areas bigger than just like the small little levels. So you can have like really expansive large worlds. And then when you go through these like little portals, like you can see that the rabbit is following me from the other world. So like technically they should be unloaded, but they do follow you. And you see how that Wendy just came through. Now there's another Wendy over here because they came through on this side of the portal as well, right? So they're all being simulated in the PLC shop super fast version. And I think that's really cool because it means that like the world is moving when you move. So if you want to like have a city that have like everybody in the city has like behaviors and that they're like going to do certain routines throughout the day, and you're just like messing around inside a house, it'll simulate everything for you. And I just think that's so cool. Like having the option to like do that and like have a fully immersive sim working, and you can just go around and like have RPG elements, so you can just go and like be like, yeah, I'm gonna go steal some stuff, and then people can get mad at you. Or you want to have a farming game, well, you just like can plant stuff, and that's just another entity, and it'll just grow based on how long it's been since you planted it in world turns. Oh look, somebody came through there for a second. We had a third Wendy in here for a moment. And this was all set up to use like node stuff. It was really cool. Maybe I come back to this. I don't know. This is a good competitor. I should bring this up. Maybe like I feel like this isn't quite as cool as the 2D 3D idea, but it's pretty close. I put so much effort into this. Look, I had like so much stuff going on. Oh. So like this was like like I had like special behavior graphs I had written, and like I was to Jessica. Yeah, Jessica had like these are all of her yeah, this is the Jessica node. This is what Jessica is. They're an entity, and they have these stats and like these components. Like they have a brain and they have a movement component. Why did I stop working on it? That's a great question. Because
Distracted, I think.
yeah, I think I got distracted. I
Or
don't
just
know.
jingle jangle keys in a different direction.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I have so many demos like this, which are like promising, but I just like randomly stopped. Um, because I don't know when was this made. Let's try and fact just this. Properties. When? Oh no. Reveal in file view.
Cross reference it with the League releases for Path of Exile.
Honestly, that could be it. That could genuinely be it. Path of Exile New League came out and ruined things. When was last modified? Because December 24 isn't when I actually made this folder. Oh, I'm almost certain that there'll be a Git repo for it. Let me see. Am I logged into GitHub? If not, I am. Okay, cool. Let's go over here. Is this the place? Yes, this is the right place. So this was made like 5-6 months ago. The last commit was 5 months ago. What is 5 months ago? Okay. Oh, so like October, November time. So then, what? Hang on. Oh, PoE 2.
Ah, yes, that would be it.
That was December. So it's possible that like Settlers or like the thing that came after Settlers messed me up. So yeah, blame PoE. Blame PoE. That's probably it. I think it's also just because like you occasionally get to a point and like what for me sometimes like when I have these things like I'm like I have a problem, but once I solve all the problems I'm like, do I make this? Like sometimes I like run out of inspiration and I start to doubt the if the project is actually like fun. And then I get like put down. I'm like, do I really want to make this? Do I, But maybe I should just make more things that are like and finish them,
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to have this because now I can like go into it and like if I ever want to continue this, I can just pick it up. Like this is fully functional. That was so cool actually because like the worlds are just JSON. Like this is what they look like. This is just the world 0. It's just some JSON, and like if you're thinking like how do we make the JSON? Like surely that's going to be annoying. Actually, there's like a whole like level builder that I made where you can just like I don't know where it is actually. Oh, it's in the prefabs. Yeah. Worlds. So like this is the example of like world 1, and like you can like you get all the power of like Unity's tile drawer, and like you literally just draw everything. And like put things on the layer, and then like these little objects are representing entities. You just drag and drop them on. This one is broken because I sprite packed it, so it's just all of the sprites instead of the right preview. But imagine that these are like the little icons. I broke this. I didn't fix it, but this is meant to be just like an entity. But you can fix that. You just like kind of pop all of these down onto the grid, align them up, and then I have this world JSON baker. So like once you have your world looking right and like how you want it, you just scroll down and hit like bake JSON, and boom, there it is. You just copy that, put that into the actual like world, into the actual engine, and then you have your entire level done. And there's like different metadata layers. So like I remember there's like for example like all of this stuff, like this is like determining whether or not stuff is collidable. This is determining the like the speed. Like, so for example, things won't generally want to walk through portals. It treats it as like super weighted, so they only go through portals really like kind of rarely if they're trying to go from A to B. Like if they're pathfinding, obviously the Jessicas, they're not pathfinding, they're moving randomly, so they'll still path through it. But if the rabbit that's following you comes through the portal and you move around it in such a way that the portal is between it and you, it won't get tricked into walking through the portal. It will walk around because it'll use a star to figure out not to go that way. And like paths, these green, that means that like the green means that you'll move faster on them. So that's cool. So all of this, there's a whole elaborate thing here about, you know, making this all work. So I should come back to it, is what I'm saying. Maybe I come back to this at some point. But I've gone on a long enough tirade into a random demo, which I feel like I keep doing more and more. I at least hope this was interesting. And an example of my attempt at making that kind of game. And as you can tell, I have a lot of demos of stuff. But I felt like that's part of the course, right? Like when you're developing and you're making random projects, I feel like you kind of have to have a huge graveyard because, like, to learn you need to fail generally, and I think that it's kind of good to. It's kind of good to like you have to like. But what I'm trying to say, you have to get through all of those pitfalls to know where they are. But there you go. So, unless people have any more like questions or want to talk about anything in particular, I might stop here. Have you ever tried using the dots framework in Unity? I have not. Matthew has. I know Matt's tried it. But when I last looked at dots, it was marked as basically being unstable, and so I haven't justified checking it out yet. But I know it's got some very funky things for being very fast. But I find that like unless you have you really need to have like 10 million cubes at the same time, and you can't just use like GPU instancing unless you're making like a big AAA like massive game. I can't really see too much of a use for it because like the base stuff works, so I'm sure there are reasons. Have you ever tried to use it? If so, what did you like about it? You're biased because you work for that team. Oh man, dang, that's pretty cool. Tell me, what are its use cases? Educate me. Could I make something cool with this? As a student worker though, it's been used for a bunch of games, but mainly when you need a lot of entities. Yeah. Like simulations. That makes sense. I know that there are some use cases, like for example, if you're making like chunk-based games, like if you try and make something akin to like a Minecraft clone-esque thing where you're doing big voxel chunk things, there I've heard dots is quite useful. From like a game devy thing. But I haven't seen too much beyond that. But I guess if you're making like a Noyota style thing, that could be pretty cool as well. Like if you like for like every pixel is simulated kind of thing, maybe dots would be good there. Because I love that kind of thing. That's so cool. I made my dissertation was on cellular automata and that kind of thing because I think they're neat. In fact, actually, fun story. My dissertation kind of bled into being My Party Needs an Alchemist because it was the like I think the title of it was like I was thinking sand physics games. Yeah. Because my dissertation was like using cellular automata to make interesting crafting systems. I'm writing about CA for my thesis. Yo, actually send me stuff. I'd love to read about it. Do you want me to bring it up right now? Any excuse to... I spent so much time writing that. Any excuse to open that stuff up, I will do it. Dude, man, I love CA, man. Yes, okay, right. I've got all the justification I need. I'm not going to stop streaming. Let's keep going. Okay, yes. Let's go for my dissertation. Let's think. Is this a good idea? Yeah. I don't see a reason why not. Okay, bang. Let me show you my end result, and then I guess we can talk about it. Is the end... I don't even know if the end result is that interesting. We'll see. I think it is, but... is it in... I'm trying to remember where it is. University work. That'll be it. Oh man, look at this. Nice and organized. One of these will be it. That's not it. This seems like it would be it. Do I have... What was the name of the final module? I can't remember. Yeah, here we go. We got it. Hello, welcome. Does this look a little familiar? Maybe a little bit in cauldron. Maybe could look like My Body Needs an Alchemist if you squint hard enough. You know, recipes on the right. Oh, well, actually, the recipe's on the kind of in the bottom, so it's not really the same at all. But if you just imagine window at the back, cauldron in the middle, it's kind of like the game, right? So my concept was for this that I wanted to make UCA to make like cool crafting stuff. So the idea was that I made a domain-specific language, a custom programming language, if you will. So you could program behaviors of cellular automata to make different methods of making crafting stuff. And then you'd write an evaluator to take the output of the language's result that you made, and then you turn that into an item, is the idea. So it's very abstract, but this is an example of an implementation of that, where, for example, let's just make something really random. We can get some, I don't know, I can't remember how any of this works. We can get some of this stuff. This is crushed Gaia leaves, I'm sure. And some activating salt. And we'll put some water in there. There you go. And then we'll finish this. And we made a chunky regeneration potion. Bam! That's the idea. And the idea is that instead of just using menuing and being like, you know, you need 5 roots to make this potion, you instead like try and incentivize discovery, like crafting and discovery through like experimentation, which was the kind of vibe. So like there are different things where if you mix certain powders together, I can't remember what was what though. We'd actually have to go and discover it. Oh, there you go. We made something interesting there. Like you could use rice paper to like separate stuff, and like there was like honey as well, which was kind of like water but more viscous, and it would set if you waited long enough. This is gonna be a mess. Sickening, wet, harming, dark liquid of sweetness. Perfect. That was a real mess. And then, you know, of course we have the silly options as well. Like, what happens if you just fill the entire cauldron with honey? Or then obviously you've created, you know, a block of honey. That kind of thing. There was a bunch of stuff. But I think more interesting is what's going on behind the hood, okay? So now I've shown you kind of what that was. Let's get the build open and actually make something cool with this. So, by the way, if I were to remake this project now, it'd be way cooler because I've learned so much since then. And I would completely remake it. In a different way, I think, or at least how I render it would definitely be different, because I am doing a lot of it on the CPU, which is foolish, and I should realistically not do that. That's not it. Let's go for that. Oh, it's saying everything is 3 months ago, because that's when I moved computers. Okay, we're really getting into the source now. Jumping back like 3 or 4 years. Which is when I made this. I don't know how long it was since uni ended. So wait, are the update rules for each cell type / material unique? Aha! You're gonna love this, okay? It's weird. So, I'm not gonna lie, I cannot remember how some of this works. This was thrown together, and I used some Lydia assets to put this together. This is all just basic. Okay. Aha, here we go. So the concept was that we had this, and we were actually using a compute shader, and we had different modes to run it in. I think we actually have some various scenes that ran things differently. So this is another example of like one where you could like set up the grid. Can I generate a grid with this? Language evaluated. Okay. Dirt? No. Okay. Oh, yeah. I remember how this worked. Yeah. So you could. This is real slow though. We could, because this is the problem. Like, there's a bunch of issues. And oh man, I just want to change this all so much. But how is this run? Okay. Do you see this? This is kind of where things get a little weird, right? So the concept is that you make configs, okay? Like this is a scriptable object. And in this concept, like in this config, you set up your ingredients, which are like, you know, stuff like, these are just colors and names, right? Unique name, display, and some colors, right? And they can also have properties. So the properties are useful because that's what you use to evaluate stuff at the end, right? So, for example, in our potion showcase, you can see that, for example, the blinding potion has blinding wet and potion as a property with different weights associated to them. And then these are the colors that they have, right? So then the actual let's go find it. These are these configs we can program using the language I wrote, the cellular automata. So this, let's go have a look at the basic one that most people use, which is the sand sim. So you start off like this. You set up your, you put in your 4 ingredients, and then you define them. So we say ingredient sand, ingredient air, and ingredient drain. When sand with south, air swap south. So what that first line is saying is, if you're a sand particle, and beneath you there is an air particle, you swap. And then the next line says, %50 when sand with southeast air swap southeast. And then the line underneath it is, when sand with southwest air swap southwest. And what that is effectively doing is when it gets to that point, if the condition is true, so when sand with southeast air, so when the, like, if you think of the more neighborhood of 1 away from it, right? So like you have the 8 neighbors diagonally down to the left, or in this case to the right. If that is air, then it has a 50% chance to execute that it should swap with that position, right? So if that 50% fails, then if it can swap down to the bottom left, it will do so, right? So what we end up here is effectively random behavior on whether or not, if it's on a pixel where it could go to the bottom left or to the bottom right, it's now random as to whether or not it flips to go to the left or to the right, right? And then beneath it, when sand with south drain become air, so become air if beneath you there is a drain. So that isn't swapping, that's you change your own state. And then when sand with southeast, with east drain become air, and with west, become air. So basically, if you're next to a drain, you should become air, is the idea. And that is it. That's the entire language for that. And then you have the sorting order bias. So sometimes this is like the order of execution from like how things are processed. It doesn't matter so much because of how things are done, but that's what the bias is. And honestly, I can't quite remember. Oh wait, the default cell state or cells start with this state unless changed. Yeah, 0. Okay. Ah, yes. So that is the ingredient. So the index is what is the default thing. So in this case, it's air is the state 0. So everything starts as air. Okay. So we can go and like demonstrate this with our cell grid. We're currently setting it to be 100 by 100. Let's just set it to be like 20 by 20. And see what that looks like. Generate a grid, 20 by 20. We can say that we have rock. I'm pretty confident that lets us just define some rock stuff like this. And then if we have sand and we set it to be, I don't know, like 5, and then that's probably 0. That's where it is. It's currently paused, so the simulation is slow. Let's move it along to be like 10. Yeah. Now we can auto set it, and now we get a stream of sand. And this is like basically a pretty classic sand simulation. That is using the programming language to determine stuff, And if you go get a drain, and put that along the bottom, now we have a pretty weird setup. I think I broke it. That's fine. I broke the automatic placing because it's, again, not amazingly done. But I can just spam this so you can see the simulation. That's the idea. Well, that's so cool. How is grammar defined? Okay, dude. Man. We got a bunch of stuff. Actually, wait. Can I show you some of the other simulations? I got some really cool stuff. But like I can show off before we get into the nitty gritty of why is sand the most satisfying thing to simulate? Oh, dude, it's not, and I'll tell you why. Because flowers are the most simulating thing. This was so when I was doing the prototyping for this long ago. Let's go to past me. So if I go and grab my old videos for university submission, we can go and have a look at what I'm like this random video that I kind of did some simulations for to get an example of it. Actually, why am I looking at our videos? Let's just simulate them again. Let's just make it. I feel like I had a system that made way more sense. I don't know what I did to make it slow. I think I actually like made this purposely worse for some reason. Probably didn't. I can't remember how this worked. Oh yeah, this is a processing thing. So processing sand, it will tell you like how much sand and stuff there is. So where is generate grid? Why do we generate the grid here? I guess if I tell it to be a bigger grid, is it fine with that? Probably, right? Nice. So let's just do a quick test. Is this still happy? Yeah, that's still pretty happy. Again, this is so slow. Why is cell size like that? What does this change? If I made this 1, oh, that just literally increases the resolution of the grid. Okay. And step rate. I believe that's what this number is here. So I think if we just oh, 0. Ah, okay. I think I know why things are slow. I think it's because I'm rate limiting it. Let's use the power of our graphics card to go a little bit more crazy with it. Generate the grid. Sand. Schwum. Oh, there it is. That's what I remember. Okay. Okay, we're back. We've got sand. Okay. Cool. It's faster now. But let's play around with other simulations. So right now we're using the sand sim config. Let's not do that. Let's use a random config. We've got so many because I had fun making these. The sunflower is my favorite, so we'll start with that. This is the rule set. I'll leave this open. This is probably one of the this is the rule set for it. We have like cool other ones. Oh wait, no, my head is over the top of it. I guess I'll turn us off for a second just so you can see. Yeah, there you go. This is what this is. I don't know what will happen. I'm gonna post this into. I reached the character limit. Damn. There you go. That would, if you copied and pasted those chat messages, it would work. It doesn't care about white space. But you can kind of have a look through there. It's probably, if you look in the chat, I mean, good luck passing that. But paste that into a notepad document. Maybe it'll be okay. I think it still cut off the last part of our message, which is actually very sad. But, okay, we have some ingredients. Let us make a grid, and I'll show you why I think this is the coolest one I made. Let's increase the resolution by a bunch. we'll make the resolution way bigger so that we can actually see this. Let's make the cell size 5 times as big, and we'll make this 40 by 40. Okay. Maybe 3 times as big. That looks right. We'll make some dirt. Is the first thing we'll do. I remember that being important. One thing I will actually do is I will go to the sunflower config and I will pin it so that we don't lose focus. So if it's not dirt, it's soil. So this is one of the weird things. I didn't actually make a thing. Like, in theory, it does know all of the ingredients, so we should have like a palette. That would be so much more convenient. So we first of all draw some soil for this. I quite like the soil texture in this. And then, I believe all we need is some sunflower seeds. We put some sunflower seeds in, and then this is hell yeah. These are naturally growing sunflowers using my using the thing. I just think it's so cool. It needs some soil to grow on though, so I can explain how it works. Let's just like cover up some of these flowers, I guess. I could also lower the earth so that they grow into bigger flowers. Yeah, look, they grow in such funky ways. Yes, grow my pretties, yes. But there you go, sunflowers. Hell yeah. I love them. So this is the code, right? I'll step through the code so that you understand how we make sunflowers. And why Ceratopter are so goddamn cool, man. Look at how cool this is. And we can just hit generate and go again. Oh, man, I'm just gonna... oh, it's not dirt, it's soil. So foolish. And this is also like, imagine you're my lecturer and you're like, you said this was about crafting. Why are you like showing me plants? But I got pretty good marks in this module, so I can't complain. I did well. They were appeased by the plants and the final result. Plants are cool, man. I love that. So how does it work? Well, we define a bunch of ingredients. So we have stem, which is obviously the green stuff, active stem, soil, seed, air, sunflower core, sunflower petal, sunflower petal edge. These are all of our ingredients. Then we make a group, because you can do that, because I try-harded this so hard. So the first line is group falling equals soil and seed. So we define a group that is basically a list that is soil and seed ingredient. When falling, that's referring to the group. With south air, swap south. So that now in essence says that soils and seeds will fall downwards if air is beneath them. Then we also define the left and right behavior, like of going diagonally. So %50 when falling with southeast air, swap southeast. When falling with southeast air, swap southwest. So that means that your soil and seeds are going to now move diagonally, right? If they're on an edge. Then, this is where things get interesting. We have and this is why % as a keyword was so fun. Because by adding some variance as to whether or not things happen, we can make some really cool chaos out of simplicity, which is CA in a nutshell. So 10% chance, so it was 10%, when seed with south soil become active stem. So this says we have a 10% chance to become an active stem when we're a seed and we're next to soil. %20 with air, with south active stem become active stem. So now we're saying that we have a 20% chance if we're air, if we have an active stem below us, that we should also become an active stem. And then a 10% chance that when air with southeast active stem, that we become a active, So this means that we have like a slightly lower chance, but we will basically start to get that diagonal movement. So like you can see it's mostly going up, but sometimes it veers diagonally, and that's these two lines here of going diagonally. Now, percent 10 when active stem becomes sunflower core, and that is how we get these plants appearing. So the sunflower core is this black part. When sunflower core around air becomes sunflower petal. And around is another keyword. What it means is if it has like any of those things around it, then it counts, I think. I can't quite remember what around was for, but I think that's what it does. And it does the same with stems, so it basically overrides stems, so it gets the full ape shape. And then when active stem around active stem becomes stem. So what that means is if it can sense another active stem around it, it then becomes a normal stem. So if you watch closely when I place a seed, you'll see the active stem is actually yellow. I think I made active stem like a bright color, so you can kind of see it growing in real time. So just again to show you, put our soil down, put our seed on it, and then you'll see that you see how like there's at the very top of it, we can put the step rate actually up to 0.5, so you can actually see in slow motion the process occur. So this is only a 10% chance for it to become, there you go, that yellow is the active stem, and now we can watch it step through, and then that, yeah, you can see that. I think that's probably its full evolution, but we can go again, and we can just watch it in slow motion grow plants. Oh, it's so cool. You can see that yellow one at the top is the active stem, and there you go, that's the full plant. I think this is neat. Now we can also like technically insert an active stem directly, so we can just do this, and then we can make some really weird things happen by drawing just a line of those, and we create like a weird vine of sunflowers, and it's going to resolve in really weird ways. Isn't that just neat? It's hypnotic. Let's just put a simulation in 0.1 so we can still watch the chaos, and just go like this. Actually, no. Let's not limit it. Let's put it at 0. Oh, yes. Grow. That's cool. CA making plants. We are so far off topic, it's untrue, but this is it. That's one of the things that we can do. Now we can just try out a different config, because we've got so many. So that, like, if you imagine that this is for crafting and you can make a plant simulation out of it, like, you can see like the potential for this. This one's just called Crazy Lines. What does that do? We have air and black glitter. Sure. Let's generate our grid and get some black glitter. It's not doing anything. What's wrong? Oh, okay. It doesn't let me hot swapping that out. That's fine. Crazy Lines. What does this do? Wait. What's the Lydia config? Does that make small Lydias? That was for part of.
Oh no! I did the Lydia config.
For part of my dissertation, I wanted to prove that this could be used by like you didn't have to know, like you could set this up even if you weren't like super sure of like the logic behind it, and just experiment and make fun systems. And so part of that was I asked Lydia to make her own cellular automata simulation, and Lydia config is what she made. So we can go check that out in a second. What does this do?
I don't know what it was.
I think it was
so long ago now.
Oh yeah, this was just like, yeah, this was weird. Okay, it's not a super fun one. Let's go find another. Oh yeah, this was, I tried to make rust on pipes for, like, because we made a liquid sim. Yeah, so this was the original water and rust config, but I accidentally put the rule set in backwards at one point and generated generated something weird. So water and rust. This one has a bunch of fun things. So the default is copper, and we can cut out air. So we can just make our little pipe. Let's see if we can get all the way to the end. That'd be kind of cool. And then I think if we just put water in, yeah, it'll start to rust, but only if it's oxidized. So the air makes the edges rust. And we've found kind of like, we've basically simulated a, because we have no pressure force, we've got a little siphon here. So if we, like, we can kind of, you can see how it like kind of pushes up a little bit, and this will eventually resolve out and calm. But this was a thing for like doing some rust stuff, and technically I think if we just put water up here, oh, that does also cause it to rust. I thought I didn't. Oh well. And apparently we can put lightning in this. What does that do? Doesn't seem to do anything. These are all conductors. Oh wait, that's steam as well. Sorry, I'm just like figuring out what this does. I'm trying to remember how it's supposed to work even. I don't see any rules for lightning here. So maybe this was unfinished, but let's go put the fungi one in, because this is basically, imagine like trying to make the rust stuff work, but then like you put in the rules the wrong way around and you get something really funky, which is what this is. So I should really set this up so I don't have to change it every time. 40, 40, 30, 40. There you go. And then generate that, put that to be 0. And apparently this is working. Like this is the defaults to air for the fungi. Oh yeah, you just put copper in it. So this is copper in this. So we can make a little pattern with it, right? And then when we unpause it, it like grows out this cool like weird fungal growth, which I think is kind of neat. So we can like make a little smiley face and then let it grow. So cool, man. Let's see what Lydia's config is. I'm curious. Lydia config. Plug that in. Ooh, she made fire.
Fire?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see what Lydia made. So it seems to be. So you have air,
Of course,
fire,
I
ember,
chose
lightning,
violence.
rocks. Yeah, classic Lydia choosing violence.
Oh no.
What does fire look like?
Can
Oh,
you put it on wood?
I suspect we will. We've got smoke
Mm.
there. You can't. We do have wood.
Do that, do that. Make a little wood pile and burn it.
One piece of fire. Yep, that burns. We set the sim speed to 0.1. I think it'll work better for this.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Here we go. Put the fire in. Whoosh. Sand with south wood becomes smoke. You made. That's weird. Oh, I think this is a modified version from another thing. So you made it so that if you put. If we have a rock. And you put sand on the rock. You made it become smoke, apparently. No. No, when smoke was... Ah, I see. So apparently if smoke touches this, it becomes wood and burns away the rock. That's kind of cool. So you can kind of set fire to everything. And like dissolve the rock. Neat. You also made lightning. But again, I don't know if lightning is implemented. I don't see it in the code. Honestly, that's such a cool project. Yeah, man, I think it was pretty neat. But then, like, the actual potion sim thing was what I was supposed to be doing. Yeah, wood and fire, sand sim, crazy lines, fungi. And then this was the actual... This was the final one. This was the one that I used in my showcase. So it's the most complicated. Because it had a ton of stuff in it. So I'm setting, like, the wet group, the liquids, the ones with gravity, the ones that are potions, and then like defining all the behavior for them. It was pretty neat. So if you want to like jump over into some code, I did write for this a nice little... Was it not a PDF? I swear it was. Yeah, this is in dark theme, so it looks worse. It should be in light theme for this style of thing. This was my little foray into making custom programming languages and like actually making a compiler, making an interpreter, playing around with all of the all of that kind of stuff. Like you can see all of my my things here. So all of my like things. Here you go. That's the actual abstract and concrete syntax for my language. So you had like the ingredients, like my type. These are all my types. And then all of my different commands. and then my expressions. And then these were, yeah, this was my, like, my rules, my grammars. I remember this. Now, how did I get here? Why did I think this was a sane thing to do with my time? One, because I saw the game Noyota, which if you haven't seen, you should check it out. And I was like, sand simulation is cool. I want to do that. And this is like talking about how they do their threading, and that I didn't have time to do that because I was bad. Then some timeline stuff and other bits and pieces, and then this is like code because I had to submit stuff. Code in a Word document is cursed as, you know, mega cursed. But I got my computer shaded to work, so at least there's that. Oh, but yeah, so you're probably thinking, like, how the hell, why did I make this? And isn't this like a really weird thing to do for this? Well, actually, I had already kind of done this for a completely different reason. I'd already made a programming language, like, literally just before I started. And then after that, I decided to make this programming language and, like, make my sound system stuff this way. So what was I doing before to make a programming language? Well, it's all Discord's fault. This is a toaster bot. It is the bot that I made, and you can roll dice for D&D. So, like, you know, roll 1d20, rolls a 20-sided dice, and gives you some results. There is actually an updated version, but this is the one that's currently live. But you can do like 1d20 plus 4 times 2, and you can like bracket things, and there's all, you know, executes mathematically correct, and then you can roll the dice at advantage. And like this passes out, and so that is going to give us a result. There you go. I believe that that does work. So when making a dice roller, after a certain point, you end up writing a domain-specific language to pass your input, because at first you can get away with just like being like, oh, 1d20, you can just like look for that phrase and then like in a string and then pass it. But when you want to be able to roll like, you know, like 23d62, you just don't have like the option. You can't just like cheat. And when you want to like add numbers to it, like how it suddenly becomes like what could be a very simple problem, once you want to be able to actually do things interestingly, suddenly starts to become really complicated. And so I had to basically write a programming language or like a domain-specific language, to pass a dice rolling and to add like a bunch of like cool things to that. So there's a bunch of interesting functionality on that dice roller, and I use it all the time, every Friday. But the point is that with that knowledge, I then turned around and then made something conceptually similar, but, you know, to a more extreme degree for this. And yeah, CA stuff, I think it's cool. If you have questions, I'll answer them, because, man, I barely got to, you know, this was just like a thing I made, and then it was just done at one point, you know. So this everything in this folder is for the language. It's pretty compact. This is my Lexa. Pretty simple stuff. But yeah, let me know if you have any any things about this. Also, I want to know what your stuff's about. CA? Tell me more. What's how are you doing, Lydia? You okay? I feel like I've been rambling too much.
Oh, I'm okay. You go on. If you're having a good time, go for it.
Oh, that's fun. Dredging up old projects.
You made a bunch. It's really cool.
Oh man, I should can for now just hide ourselves. Oh yeah, we're invisible. Let's come back. EP. I have so many questions, but that might drag out, so it'll be some other time. Okay. Well, if you want to ask questions, put it in the Discord, and I'll answer them. Probably after I've eaten, but I'll definitely get to it. And I'd love to see what you're working on if you can share it, because that's neat. But ultimately, for My Party Needs an Alchemist, it's like when we got around to making that, and I was like, maybe we should use the cytometer stuff. It was just too complicated. It was like too complicated for like people to kind of like. Basically, we just decided it would be easier to make it simple. Because at that point, I was like, we were really trying to make something quick, and simplifying it down to potions and like drawing fun patterns, I think also works. I think if you wanted like a discovery-based game, there's definitely something there. Like you could make something fun with it, but I think at the same time, like it has to be like a core part of your your like game, if that's what you're doing. Let's have a look. Hang on. Here we go. I'm like basically doing 3D parametric cellular automators where you can define a DNA string with a set of genes, then evaluated, and a creature's structure is grown. Oh, dude, that sounds cool. 3D parametric CAs. Is that like... I was expecting powder sims when I heard what you're making a potion game. Oh man, it was tempting, but like I think stylistically it was difficult as well to make work with the art style. So one thing you can do is kind of cheat, and if you look into like one thing we were considering was using either like soft physics or morbs, I think they're called, which are like they're like effectively have points. You can draw those as spheres, and then with morphs they like blend together into like a liquid, like a soup, like visually. And I think we were experimenting with doing that, but then we were like, at what point is this crazy? But that sounds cool. If you've got like a GIF or something, I'd love to see what that looks like. How far along are you? Also, I can totally see why this might require using some of the dot stuff, because, like, yeah, dots for CA makes sense. If you're like rendering them out individually, I wasn't actually like rendering my CA as like as like individual particles, if that makes sense. But instead, I was using a compute shader to effectively draw them out, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that that's a good idea either, by the way. Dots might be a better solution, especially if you're doing 3D. Because I was just like trying to make something that ran. I was quite happy with the result, but especially if you scale it up more and more, it becomes more and more naive. I'm like 1 to 2 months in. Oh, dude, that's cool. You're using Python plus Blender. Okay. Well, you know I enjoy a bit of like Blender stuff. Okay, especially if you're hacking Blender to do stuff it shouldn't. That's when you know it's good. How are you doing it? That would be nice, but that'd be more work. So true. Honestly, so true. Man, yeah. Okay. I'm using geometry nodes to visualize it. Oh, dude. Now you're talking my language. I love geometry nodes. Okay, right. So, I made like a lily pad simulation with geometry nodes once. That was cool. And I don't know if I have that. I might have pictures of it somewhere. It wasn't very. It was okay. It worked well enough. Let's see if I can go find it. It's the best, exactly. Oh, I love lily pads. Wait. There's no way you're making CA lily pads. That would be too crazy. Let's go find where that was. University work. That was Advanced Technologies Module 2. Also, for Kirsten, did you know they only do one thing now in AT instead of 3? Isn't that like soul crushing? Like so much of the fun stuff is just immediately gone. Your diss is the combination of mine and Luke's, which is one hell of a coincidence. That is true. You were doing evolution as well. You were doing simulated evolution. Wow. That is uncanny. Yeah, they only do one thing now. It's like... I don't know whether or not that's like great or terrible. What is this? Was it Project 3? Ah, it was Project... Okay. Okay, alright, hold on. I'll briefly show you some stuff I made. So this was when geometry nodes had basically just started appearing. So it was like I was literally like updating my demo as they released new updates that enabled me to do more stuff with the geometry nodes. It was crazy because basically I was like the task was make procedural plant generation because AT was a module where you had three. You got 3 lists of 3 tasks and you could choose one thing. So you were doing 3 things, and you had like options as to what you did, and you had to do them within I think like 5 weeks each, and you had to make a video every week. So I have a bunch of videos on it. And for plant generation, everybody was like doing vertices stuff generation in Unity, like simulating meshes and things. But I cheated by using geometry nodes, which I got like really good marks for, and it was so much easier than what my friends were doing. So I was definitely into it. Okay, right. So this is kind of the result of what I got with my my geometry node lily pads. And the idea was that like if you're like making a scene with some lily pads, you would create this like yellow mesh, effectively like this plane. You would put that where you wanted your lily pads to appear, and then like the geometry node would make your lily pads for you, right? And it could technically be a volume, and that's what it looked like if you made a volume. So the idea was that your plane generates a series of random points on those planes, like on the polygons, you know, the faces. Oh my god, my terminology is terrible. Vertices appear on the faces. Then you basically extrude those down. Like you go down, and so you get a bunch of like lines, and then instead of those points being at a random location, you associate them with other random points on another nearby mesh. So you can control where these bottom parts group up as well. And then after that, those lines, those edges, you can kind of make them like cylindrical, and then have them be thicker at the base so that they become stems. And then at random points along those stems, you can add like little leaves, and then you just, on the top of those points, you generate either like a lily pad mesh or a flower mesh, and you just control the weighting of that. And so this was the node. You could you just control like the density and the flower chance, and you put in the stem material and object, and that was it really. I think this was it. This was the entire material, the entire geometry node. No, this is for the inner blossom. This is for the leaves. And because I generated the leaves as well, they were dynamically made instead of a mesh. And then this was it with some lighting, which, like, so I remember doing this at like random time. I think it was like nearing winter, and then it was like I needed to go get like a high quality screenshot. I wanted to like get a picture of a lily pad so that I could like 3D model one that didn't look terrible, and like get a normal for it. And I just ripped a random PNG in the end. But since then, I've started collecting lily pad photos for no reason. And so now I reckon I can remake this and be way better. But yeah, these are examples of big lily pads. Those are cool. You can sit on them. But lily pads are weird, just like in general. They're kind of cool though. Yeah, so that's my geometry nodes. My quick foray with them. I haven't really done much with them since then, but they're pretty cool. And they're definitely worth looking into. They're really powerful. But yeah, I would love to see what you have made if you're allowed to show it. I don't know what the confidentiality bit of it is. But it's insane that you've got some like, oh, that sounds so cool. Combination, evolution, and CA stuff. I'd love to see that. And yeah, I think we'll probably stop here though. And if you want to keep discussing stuff, move into the Discord, because I'm really hungry. So I'm gonna go eat some food because I haven't eaten dinner yet. So it's been fun chatting. And hell yeah, I'll check that out. I'll see you guys around, and next week it'll be a real stressful time because it'll be the Thursday where I've released the keys for the game to content creators. So I'll either be very relieved or very stressed out. And then the week after that, I'm planning to do like, that'll be the Thursday which is the day the game releases. Mm-hmm. And so that stream is going to be a crazy one. We're gonna like, I was thinking about maybe doing like a stream where we like watch all of the Make a Game with us in a row, so you can see like the game from nothing to like all the way up until release, and to see the entire process, and then the game releases and people can go play it. I thought that'd be cool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Classic. It'll take us less than 2 months line.
Oh yeah, get some commentary on it as well. Oh man, oh dudes, I think we said that like so much as well. We can't just pretend we didn't. Oh well. But yeah, thanks for coming and watching the stream. Thanks for chatting. It was really nice. It should be fun. Next 2 weeks are going to be crazy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, stay tuned. Oh man. See you next time. Bye.